Refined behind the scenes of a Jeopardy audition.
And Malia.
Who is Krusty the Clown?
Right. The Refined team battles it out on the buzzer when the famous quiz show comes to town. Plus, back in the kitchen with James Beard Award-winning chef Oberto Jordan. He chats about his new culinary passion project. Then, start your engines.
Hey, I drove at 137 miles an hour.
We have the need for speed just in time for Seafair Weekend. Seattle Refined starts now.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Seattle Refined. I'm Gard Swanson. It's hands down the most watched quiz show in America. Every weeknight, millions of people tune into Jeopardy to play along with the contestants. It's easy to play when you're sitting on your couch with your family. But let me tell you something. It's a lot harder when you're behind that podium.
And just getting on the show is a feat in itself. Our Refined team headed to Jeopardy Auditions to see what it takes.
This is Jeopardy!
It's one of the most beloved television shows in North America. Legions of loyal viewers play Jeopardy at home every night, but only a select few make it to Burbank to test their skills in front of Alex Trebek. To earn a coveted spot at the podium, each contestant must first make it through a regional audition, like this one in downtown Seattle.
I'm very excited. I've been a Jeopardy fan since I was a little kid, so I'm very pleased to be here.
It's the second time I've auditioned for one of these. Didn't get through before. Always, always optimistic.
I love Jeopardy. It is a thing that I've been saying I want to do since I was a kid. It's like kind of a pipe dream, so I'm excited to have a chance to maybe do it.
Some 80,000 people took the Jeopardy test online. Only 2,000 to 3,000 get the chance to audition in person.
It's quite all right for them to be nervous, but we want them to have a great time trying out for the show.
Glenn Kagan is Jeopardy's senior contestant coordinator. Every year, he and his team travel the country in search of contestants for the new season. Glenn says there are several factors that go into getting selected for the show.
One, passing a very difficult test online and doing quite well with the test that we give them here in person, and then playing Jeopardy for us. We're ideally looking for the type of people that the home viewers are rooting for.
Of course, we wanted to see if our Refined team had what it took. So we sent them to experience the audition process for themselves.
I'm a little bit nervous, but I've been playing this in my living room like my entire life. And I think I'm great at it in my mind, but I'm kind of worried that I'm not in real life.
This is probably as close as I'm going to get it to actually being on the show. I'm excited.
We got a chance to go down to the actual Jeopardy set for a Seattle Refined shoot, and I can't even imagine going up there and Alex walking out with the buzzer in your hand, like sweating bullets. If I'm nervous here, I can't even imagine what it'll be like on the show.
First up, a 50-question written test covering a bunch of different topics in limited time. How'd the team do? We don't know. In fact, Jeopardy never releases test results, but we can tell you it was tough.
I'll be honest with you. I was pretty confused a lot, and I did a lot of guessing.
It was a mixed bag. There were times when I felt like I was really on a roll and times where I had like 3 blank spaces in a row, which is how you know you're not going to be on this show going forward.
Next up, the fun part.
This is not real Jeopardy!
Our Refined team squared off in a mock game of Jeopardy, buzzers and all.
One-word song titles for 6.
Protective or possessive, sings Nick Jonas in this tune.
And Brandon.
What is jealous?
Pick right away.
Presidents and secretaries for 2.
He appointed Madeleine Albright.
And Malia.
Who is Bill Clinton?
Good.
Familiar numbers for 400.
Patricia Schultz has prepared a long bucket list with her book, This Many Places to See Before You Die.
And John.
1,000? What is 1,000?
Yeah!
What is Moe's Tavern?
Right.
What is the Boston Tea Party?
Correct.
What is police chief?
What is Rocky? Good. What is the King's Speech?
Who is Rosa Parks?
Good.
What's Mars?
And John.
What is the Apollo?
Yes.
Based on our unscientific calculations, John was the winner of this Refined showdown. While you probably won't be seeing anyone from Refined on Jeopardy anytime soon, the experience was one these 3 won't soon forget.
It was really fun. I had a great time, and I kind of fulfilled like a lifetime fantasy of mine, which was to be on Jeopardy.
It was an awesome time to be able to have the buzzer in your hand to see the clues and to play against some friends.
And Brandon.
What is Rocky? Good.
That was
So going through this process, I watch Jeopardy every night, and I just have so much more respect for those contestants, knowing that they went through this process and succeeded, and this is why I'm such a fan of the show.
You can watch Jeopardy every weeknight right here on Como 4.
Right before Jeopardy is, of course, Wheel of Fortune. And when it comes to getting on that show, you know it's all about big personality.
The Wheelmobile recently rolled into town and the energy was crazy. It took place at the Emerald Queen Casino in Tacoma. People entered their name in a lottery, and the lucky ones got to play the game on stage. If you missed your chance, hey, you know what? Don't worry about it. The Wheelmobile will be back again very soon, and when it happens, we'll let you know.
When it comes to big events this summer, there's one that will be full of party animals. Our sponsor, Woodland Park Zoo, is launching their first ever Wild Bites, where you can savor, sip, and save wildlife. There'll also be local celebrity chefs there, too. Refine spent some time with one of them, who you're probably going to recognize.
He's a shining star on Seattle's culinary scene. When we first met Oberto Jordan early last year, his restaurant, June Baby, was already among the city's most buzz-worthy spots. Now, after earning numerous accolades, including a coveted 3-star review from the New York Times and the James Beard Award for Best New Restaurant in America, it is a dining destination.
June Baby is a Southern-inspired restaurant. It talks about the migration of Southern food from Africa all the way to now Seattle, and the influences that it has had on American cuisine, particularly Southern cuisine.
Oberto owns 3 restaurants in Ravenna, each with its own perspective, its own story. At June Baby, that story is decidedly personal.
Southern cuisine is like the roots of my cooking. My mom, my grandmother, my folks, my family. And I avoided that for many years because when I decided to become a professional chef, and I realized there was a story not being told, especially from my roots.
In showcasing Southern cuisine, Oberto is celebrating 2 of his biggest culinary influences, his mother and grandmother. Family recipes like Mama Jordan's oxtails have become a menu staple.
When I think about family, I think about all the stories, the untold stories that my mom and my grandmother presented through food. They didn't necessarily talk about where these dishes and the ingredients came from in the history of it. And now I'm exploring and understanding it more. And now I get to share these stories with my son. So it's passing the torch through generations.
And very soon, Oberto is taking a break from the kitchen at June Baby to cook inside Woodland Park Zoo. He's taking part in Woodland Park Zoo's Wild Bites on September 6th, alongside a who's who of Seattle star chefs and mixologists.
I've always been a supporter of the zoo and what the zoo has been doing, and educating us about animal rights, animals, conserving our animals. And, I just think about all of that, and I get excited about supporting things that I believe in.
Wild Bites gives guests a chance to experience the Woodland Park Zoo after hours while sampling delicious food and drinks. The best part? Each ticket sold raises money to help wildlife in the Pacific Northwest and around the world.
We are often forgetful of what goes on in the world, in the animal kingdom too. So the zoo is here to help us understand the greater animal kingdom, and it's not just us and what we need to do as human beings to protect the land, to protect the animals.
It's a chance to support a critically important cause while also having a great time.
No, it's going to be a fun event, a lot of tastings. You're going to get an opportunity to meet a lot of great chefs in this city, learn more about the zoo. It's going to be an awesome experience.
Wild Bites is September 6th at 5 o'clock. You can grab tickets right now. For more information, head to SeattleRefined.com. Seattle Refined is just getting started.
I think you should be nervous, because that means you're excited. If you weren't nervous at all, you'd be bored, and that wouldn't be any good.
Refined has your front row seat to the sweetest concert we've ever been to. Plus, it's not every day you christen a boat with a salami. The hype around this hydroplane. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the show. I'm Guard Swanson. Well, the summer staple Seafair is back in Seattle this weekend. Pirates, Blue Angels, and of course, the hydro races. And thanks to our sponsor, Oberto, there's one boat that is sure to take the whole salami. Here's Refine's John Prentice.
It's been a Seattle summertime tradition for decades. Hydroplane racing, boats doing triple-digit speeds to the delight of huge crowds. And for most of the last 50 years or so, Oberto has been a mainstay sponsor of these waterborne rocket ships.
I'm a big Seafair fan, hydro fan. There's nothing more Seattle than beef jerky Cocktail Pep and Art Oberto and his hydros.
Today, Oberto is synonymous with speed and delicious beef jerky. But the family business got its start with authentic Italian salami and sausage more than 100 years ago, right here in Seattle. And they're bringing it back.
With our 101-year heritage, we thought it was nothing better we could think of than to relaunch our salami and our sausage business that we started with, that my grandfather Art started. So we thought the most Seattle-centric way to do that was to bring out the old boats. So this boat right here is actually called the Super Salami. So we brought out the new boat, named it the Super Salami, and brought out a crowd, barbecued some sausages, and kicked things off. We didn't want any charcuterie to bring back. We went all the way to northern Italy, where our roots are from, found the best salami in the market, the best cheeses, and we're importing those from there, flying them on a plane in refrigerated cases and bringing them to Seattle. So it's going to be really exciting this summer.
Delicious cured meats, imported cheese, and gobs of horsepower. Sounds like an exciting summer to me, for sure.
So I saw you had a little snack out there on the dock. How'd it taste?
It was good. It's their new Super Salami that they did. They wanted to christen the boat. A little different way of doing it, but it's fun.
How fast does this thing go out on the water?
There we were just doing a shakedown. We have it turned down a little bit. We're seeing about 185 down the straightaway.
And Jeff says that's with the engine tuned down. With more fuel, these things can push 200 miles an hour. Holy pepperoni.
Would you ever want to drive one of these 200 miles an hour?
Hey, I drove it 137 miles an hour. I drove one out here, and I kept telling the guys, you want to go faster, go this way, you want to go slower. It's a good sport, and it's something that everybody gets involved in. If you get the kids involved and stuff, you can't fail.
Out on Lake Washington, the new and the old ran together, and it was quite the sight. Rob Wheeler from the Hydroplane Museum got to drive the vintage Super Salami.
So it says pepperoni powered on the engine, but that can't be true.
No, it's just partially pepperoni powered. I'm pepperoni powered. It's a Allison V12 1710 cubic inch. It's out the left-hand motor out of a P-38 Lightning, a World War II fighter. It's 1,700 to 2,000 horsepower.
That must be incredible to drive.
It's pretty fun.
What is it like to see those boats out together, the new and the old? This has been a family affair for a long time for you guys.
Yeah, fourth generation Oberto. I grew up with hydroplanes. It's in the blood. There's nothing better than the sound of the boats on the water.
John Prentice, Seattle Refined.
To learn more about Oberto, just head to our website. Coming up, move over, Milan, the Seattle exhibit dedicated to local Seattle fashion, everything from grunge to gowns.
Welcome back to Refined. I'm Garth Swanson. You know, there have been a lot of big concerts in Seattle, but there was one big-time performance you might have missed, and we have to say it was one of the best concerts that we have ever seen. The headliner, an amazing girl named Lucy.
Are we nervous?
A tiny bit.
I think you should be nervous, because that means you're excited. If you weren't nervous at all, you'd be bored, and that wouldn't be any good.
It's showtime for Lucy. The 6-year-old is getting ready to take the stage with her favorite singer by her side.
I think she was like 6 months old when we took her to her first Casper Baby Pants concert, and she just sat there, and we kept trying to talk to her. She wouldn't talk to us. She just wanted to watch Casper Baby Pants, and from then on, it was nothing but singing her songs, and she just has loved it ever since.
She waited a long time for this moment. We first met Lucy and her family last year at their Kent home and learned about her Make-A-Wish.
She's going to work with Casper Baby Pants, who's a local artist. Lucy has spinal muscular atrophy, and she was diagnosed when she was about 18 months old, which means that her muscles are slowly dying over time. And so she got her wheelchair when she was 2 years old and has been driving it ever since.
Lucy spent months leading up to the show, practicing and collaborating with Casper Baby Pants, aka Chris Ballou, at his studio. If he looks familiar, that's because he's also the lead singer of the Seattle rock band, the Presidents of the United States of America.
I love collaborating with inspired people, no matter who they are, how old they are, and Lucy is inspired. So it was an easy decision. Spring, spring, spring. Singing that is my thing.
All that hard work finally paid off with Lucy's concert at the Land of Nod at the U Village. It was a packed house.
We've been very, very excited about it, and she's just been really working on her song. She just tells every classmate, every teacher, pulling together. Whew.
I've been practicing at home. Casper Baby Pants helped me change up a song a little bit.
Yeah.
What's it called?
Springtime fun.
Springtime fun.
I get a lot of calls to work with rock stars. I get a lot of calls. Bono calls, Paul McCartney calls. People call all the time like, nah. But then Lucy called. I was like, Lucy? Oh, I definitely want to work with Lucy. Talented, beautiful, sparkly little star, Lucy! Spring, 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 singing loud is my thing. You sing loud as I make a sound. Spring, one more time. Spring, 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 singing loud is my thing.
The crowd loved every minute of it. Even little brother Lucas had to get up and dance by his sister's side. After the concert, Lucy got a standing ovation and even signed autographs for fans.
It's very overwhelming, but it doesn't seem like that for her. Like, she's like, this is my life. She's such a star naturally, so she's just like, well, don't TV cameras interview you? That's just what happens to me. Everyone she meets, she's so excited to tell them about her wish, and we talk about it all the time. It's just been really a great source of hope for her.
Thanks so much to Make-A-Wish Alaska and Washington for helping out Lucy. If you want to help make wishes come true for kids like Lucy, please join us for the Make-A-Wish Wishes in Flight Mileage Drive on Thursday. You can donate unused miles from Alaska, Delta, United, American Southwest, and JetBlue. Tune in to Como 4 all day on August 1st to learn more. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the show. I'm Gart Swanson. You know, when it comes to places that are famous for fashion, Paris and Milan probably come to mind. But Seattle also has been on the cutting edge for the past 200 plus years. And now there's an exhibit at Mohi celebrating the pairing of fashion and function. Here's Refine's Malia Karlinski.
When you think of Seattle style, does the image of a rain slicker come to mind? While weather gear has its place, our city possesses a flair for fashion, and it's pretty sensational.
So this exhibit, Seattle Style Fashion Function, is a history of clothing and style in Seattle.
Clara Berg is the curator of a dazzling new display at Mohi, dedicated to what we've been wearing.
19th, 20th, and 21st century. So a big range of things from high fashion to everyday clothing and outdoor gear and grunge and everything in between.
When a lot of people think about Seattle, they go right to grunge and granola. Is that fair?
Well, I would say it's not totally incorrect, but it's unfair to say that that's all that we have.
Clara showed us a few of the featured items, and some of them might surprise you.
And one of the star pieces in the exhibit is the butterfly dress from designer Elsa Schiaparelli. And when I first discovered it in the collection, I had a big wow moment because the Metropolitan Museum of Art has a similar dress.
From a dramatic dress to the OG and outdoor gear, there is an iconic coat here.
Yes.
Who did this belong to?
So this is a jacket made by Eddie Bauer. It's the earliest known surviving jacket made by him. And so Eddie Bauer essentially invented the down jacket.
From Eddie Bauer's innovative coat to a more recent creation. One word, or maybe it's two.
It's one.
Utilikilt.
Utilikilt, yes. Love it or hate it, it was invented in Seattle, and it's kind of an evidence of how we're kind of people who want to go our own way. A sort of half work clothing, half original kilt. It's not a skirt, it's an unbifurcated garment.
Right. While the Utilikilt is not a skirt, this is definitely a dress.
So this is a dress from the early 1950s that was worn by a woman who named Ruth Schoenfeld Blevin Clayburgh. She didn't go by all four of those names all the time. She was married a few different times. She was an arts patron and she went to a lot of, and also planned some of the most glamorous events in Seattle.
They may not smell like teen spirit, but there are even some glorious grunge items here.
We also got this amazing loan from the Museum of Pop Culture of a sweater and a hat that belonged to Kurt Cobain. Well, what's fun about it is that other than the history of it, it's kind of an unremarkable sweater, which was kind of the grunge look, is that it was really about the personality of the person inside of it. So it's not a very exciting sweater until you know who it belonged to, and then it's really exciting.
From classic coverall shorts to coats to couture, it shows Seattle's legacy of fashion in a fresh way. What are you hoping people take away from this exhibit?
I'm hoping that it kind of changes their perception about clothing in Seattle.
Malia Karlinski, Seattle Refined.
You can check out the Seattle Style Fashion and Function at Mohi through October 14th.
All right, that's going to do for today's show. Thank you so much for joining us here on Seattle Refined. We'll see you next time.
It's gone